Global events at the beginning of 2020 have shown the criminal nature of the system of state power in all countries on this planet, as well as the level of social degradation in all countries on this planet, and appeal to the future progressive generation. Start by decriminalizing the ultra-archaic system of state power, whose roots go back thousands of years. It is clear that the real reform of the state power paradigm will only be possible if the social demand for a modern democratic state policy in any country critically increases. What happened and is happening up until this time in the politics of countries with formal democracy, the US and Europe. History begins, on the one hand, with party election campaigns and the presentation of specific candidates for power, and on the other hand, with the procedure of anonymous voting by that part of the loyal electorate which has the right to vote. If we consider the European political perspective, where parliamentary multi-party elections take place, then the law on the right of access to the parliamentary powers is definitely subject to reform. To this point, in various European countries, this threshold has ranged from 5 to 7%. But the majority is a 50% threshold, above which it guarantees the formation of a single-party government without the need to form coalitions with other parties. But even with a single-party formation of the government, the approval of any future laws in the parliament is not possible without two-thirds of the vote, and therefore without the support of other parties. In this situation, a progressive political movement would not be able to effectively implement modern democratic public policy while facing the systematic sabotage of other parties present in the parliament. Therefore, it is politically expedient to give access to the parliamentary powers to that party or social movement which gained a simple majority according to the results of the elections. First, it would drastically reduce parliamentary bureaucracy and government spending on its maintenance. Secondly, for the first time, there would be clear accountability for the political thoughts, words, actions, and deeds of those who received parliamentary powers. Thirdly, only by obtaining the authority will a radical reform be possible for the paradigm of the system of state power. Initially, it is necessary to eliminate parliamentary elections and, as an alternative, to legalize government elections, based on the competition of plans and programs for the implementation of modern democratic public policy. To withdraw from direct subordination to the government, the law enforcement technologies, police, special services, army, prosecutor's office, courts, and prisons. For each law enforcement agency to develop a service code, professional qualification requirements to protect the foundations of the democratically reformed constitution. Instead of the various ministries, create a government administrative bureau, the work of which shall be to coordinate control, and optimize law enforcement technologies in order to effectively combat state, international, and domestic crime. In economics, work of the Government Administrative Bureau will be to not prevent people from working and earning money, and to not prevent them from spending that money, which will naturally lead to an increase in supply and demand. Accordingly, the second directive would be ultra-liberal fiscal policy. The appeal should not be for investment used to increase the enrichment of government officials, the oligarchy, and large monopoly businesses, but the country's appeal should be for foreign representatives of small and medium-sized businesses and foreign workers. This requires a radical liberalization of immigration policy and law. That is, if the local population, due to historical reasons, is not motivated and proactive enough in the development of medium and small businesses, or not motivated enough to produce skilled and responsible work, then it is necessary to offer it to those who are motivated and able to do it. In order for the government to accelerate a country's economic development, it is necessary to implement specific tasks, such as the abolition of border and customs restrictions on the free movement of capital, goods, and labor for any country in the world. The abolition of national citizenship as a sign of primitive nationalism. The abolition of visas for entry and exit as a complete anachronism. Elimination of discrimination against women through the implementation of the right to free choice of profession, the right to work. This means the legalization and professionalization of the provision of sex services. Auxiliary tasks of the government will not be described here. Tasks like territorial and administrative regulation or communal infrastructure planning, and perhaps much more. State and municipal order on a truly competitive basis. State loans and subsidies only after a thorough examination by specialists of an expert council. The third directive of the Government Administrative Bureau's work will be the humanization and optimization of social policies to create a public institution like family and childhood, in order to enable the socially disabled groups of population, the mentally and physically disabled, pensioners, pregnant women, children, unemployed, to receive from the state decent moral, political, and economic support, and also to contribute to the creation of conditions in which it is possible to express love, create a family, and give birth to children. The fourth directive of the Government Administrative Bureau would be sanitary and epidemiological control and environmental protection from pollution, through increased control of clean air and cleanliness of natural water bodies, through increased concern for the health of local flora and fauna, and through increased control of the conservation of the local natural landscape. The fifth directive of the Government Administrative Bureau is foreign independent policy, which will be the timely curtailing of international economic, political, environmental, and humanitarian threats. In cases of malicious or malignant activities of monopolies or overcapitalized transnational corporations, or international financial funds, the government will disqualify them from the right to engage in economic activities in the country or subject them to particularly taxable status. And as a last resort, confiscate all assets and initiate criminal investigations on the basis of sovereign democratic laws, which will be prioritized and independent of international laws. In the place of Parliament, in the traditional sense, a council of experts consisting of professional lawyers will be organized. Their task will be the systematic review of the Government Administrative Bureau's orders for compliance with the already reformed Criminal, Civil, and Administrative Code, and for compliance with the reformed Constitution and the plan and program Modern Democratic State Policy. In cases of non-compliance, the Council of Experts is empowered to initiate legal action, seeking a partial adjustment or nullification on the merits of a specific government order. The work of the Council of Experts will be based on the Service Code, that is, professional qualification requirements. Even though the Government Administrative Bureau will be responsible for hiring lawyers to the Council of Experts, judges to the judiciary, and employees to law enforcement agencies, the work of these multidirectional bodies of state power will take place independently and autonomously. If a Government Administrative Bureau has a suspicion that there has been abuse of power by law enforcement agencies or the Council of Experts or Court of Justice, a legal action will be initiated requiring an inspection commission audit possible abuses.